Welcome to Conspiracy Q. Tonight, we're going deep. Real deep, like down the rabbit hole deep.
Buckle up, listeners. This is a top-secret investigation. We're talking about the Mandela Effect, where, everyone remembers something one way.
And then, bam, reality's like, nope, that never happened.
We're talking shared false memories, big time, so big it makes you wonder.
Is it really just our bad memory? Or is something else going on? Something, well, weirder.
Tonight, we've got some recently uncovered sources, stuff that lays out the case against, oh, you just forgot.
We're talking some seriously mind-bending examples. And of course, those juicy theories. Timeline tampering, parallel universes, you name it.
And we'll even touch on that chilling question, what happens to those who dig too deep into this stuff? The ones who start questioning the narrative.
So if you're ready to question everything you thought you knew about reality, keep listening. Because tonight, things are going to get strange.
Let's start with the elephant in the room. Or, well, the elephant that wasn't in the room, depending on who you ask. The faulty memory theory.
Yeah, the idea that we all just kind of messed up our memories.
Yeah.
But these sources, they hit on something big.
The sheer scale of it and the specificity, right?
It's like millions of people all remembering the exact same wrong thing, independently. That's got to make you wonder.
Take Nelson Mandela, for example. It's not just a vague sense that he died earlier than he did. People recall specific details.
News reports, his widow, the whole 9 yards, supposedly all happening in the 80s.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that? Did everyone just collectively hallucinate the same fake news?
Exactly. And these sources, they point out just how improbable that is, statistically speaking. It'd be like winning the lottery a million times in a row.
Speaking of unlikely spellings, what about the Berenstain Bears? I mean, come on, it was Berenstain with an ein. Always. Until suddenly it wasn't.
Right. And these sources ask the tough questions. Was every single book, every piece of merch changed all at once?
It just doesn't add up. And it brings us to another point that these sources highlight, the emotional weight of these memories. It's not just like, oh yeah, I think I remember that. It's deeper.
It's visceral, tied to childhood, to strong feelings.
Think about it, listeners. Have you ever experienced the Mandela Effect? A memory so clear, so vivid, that completely clashes with what we're told is true. It's unsettling, to say the least.
And that unwavering certainty is what these sources really focus on. It's not just a casual, oops, I got that mixed up. It's a knowing deep down.
Right. And then things get even weirder when these sources start talking about residual evidence. We're not just talking memories anymore. Some people claim to find actual things that back up their old memories.
An old note, a glimpse of a website from years back, a VHS tape.
All seeming to show the wrong version of reality before mysteriously changing to match the current one.
These sources talk about websites changing old text like it was never there. Even physical media, like those VHS tapes, suddenly having different content.
It's almost like someone's editing reality, and some of us are catching them red-handed. Okay, let's dive into some specific examples from these sources. The big ones, the glitches that make you go, wait, what?
Well, we got to start with the namesake, right? Nelson Mandela's death. It's not just remembering it wrong. People have detailed memories of watching it on TV.
News reports, his widow, the whole thing. These sources really hammer this point home. If it never happened, how could so many people remember the same specific details?
It really throws a wrench in the whole faulty memory explanation. Then there's the Berenstain Bears. I mean, it was ein. It just felt right. Now it's ain everywhere you look.
Like we said, did someone go back and change every single book and toy? Seems a bit excessive, right? These sources definitely raise that question.
And another thing that's strange is that finding any evidence of the ein spelling is almost impossible. It's like it's been scrubbed from existence, almost too clean,
All right, let's talk Star Wars. I mean, who hasn't misquoted Darth Vader? Luke, I am your father, right? Except that's not actually the line.
No, it's no, I am your father.
Yeah.
Subtle difference. But these sources point out how widespread the misremembered version is.
Did the movie itself change? It's enough to make you wonder. And then we've got something as mundane as peanut butter. Jif versus Jiffy. It sounds crazy, but so many people remember Jiffy peanut butter.
The logo, everything. Did we all just collectively imagine a peanut butter brand that never really existed? These sources point out that brand confusion is normal, but not to this extent.
And then there are those tiny details, the ones that seem so insignificant, like Kit Kat, with or without the hyphen. Fruit Loops versus Fruit Loops.
Exactly. They seem so small, but like these sources say, it's the consistency of the misremembering that's weird.
And then things take a turn for the truly bizarre. We're talking geography, even anatomy. These sources mention people remembering entire continents in different places.
South America being further east, Sri Lanka in a different spot, even New Zealand's position relative to Australia. It's not just a little detail, it's a whole different world map.
It makes you wonder if it's even possible to misremember something that big. And then there are the claims about the human body. Kidneys in a different spot, changes to the skull, even bones that some people say were never there to begin with.
Yeah, the sphenoid ridge, for example, that one's a doozy. These are the claims that really push the limits of what we think we know about our own bodies.
Okay, so let's say it's not just our bad memory. What are some of the wilder theories out there?
Well, the sources dive into the popular ones. Parallel universes, for example. The idea that we're constantly shifting between slightly different realities.
So like in one universe, it's Berenstain Bears, and in another, it's Berenstain Bears. And we're somehow blending the two in our memories.
Exactly. These sources suggest it could explain why we remember things so vividly, even if they don't match up with this particular reality.
And then there's the idea of timeline alterations. Like someone or something is messing with the past, and that somehow bleeds into our present memories.
You know, these sources even mention CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. Some people think those high-energy experiments are causing ripples in time.
It's a bit scary, right? To think our past isn't set in stone, like someone's rewriting history, and we're just along for the ride. Now let's get into the really dark stuff. What happens to the people who start asking too many questions about the Mandela Effect?
Well, these sources talk about Fiona Broome, the one who coined the term Mandela Effect.
Some people say she's toned down her explanations over time, maybe because of pressure to not rock the boat too much.
There are also reports of online communities, forums dedicated to the Mandela Effect, being shut down or censored, like someone's trying to silence the discussion.
And these sources paint a chilling picture of what could happen to researchers who take this stuff too seriously. Funding cuts, ruined reputations, the whole works.
It's almost like a classic conspiracy movie, right? The truth is out there, but someone's trying to bury it. And then there's the issue of missing evidence. People who swear they had an old book or a VHS tape with the wrong version of reality, only to find it's changed or disappeared.
It's like someone's going back and erasing the evidence.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if you can trust your own memories.
Right.
So, listeners, after hearing all of this, what do you think? Is it just a case of bad memory? Or is there something deeper going on? Something that changes the way we view reality itself?
It's easy to dismiss this as just a bunch of misremembered trivia, but the sheer number of people who experience the Mandela Effect, the emotional weight of these memories, it's hard to ignore.
And when you factor in the missing evidence, the censored online discussions, it starts to feel like something bigger is at play.
So do your own research. Talk to people. Trust your gut when something feels off. There's a lot more to uncover here.
That's right. And keep listening to Conspiracy Q. We're committed to bringing you the truth, no matter how strange or unsettling it might be.
Rate and follow the show, and let's keep digging. Who knows what other secrets we might uncover?